To be affected by something or someone is terrifying. Deleuze even likens it to madness. Is it not? We risk destabilizing ourselves and becoming something else. But this existential project of being alive, this urge towards self-expansion and growth, is one that inevitably entails this risk of falling in love. We must venture outwards if we wish to follow these inner potentialities. And love may be the greatest act of such irrationality. We commit ourselves to something or someone that will inevitably fail us through death, heartbreak, or some other unpredictable outcome. Nonetheless, we surmount our fears of vulnerability and entrust in ourselves that this incorporation of the other is still entirely worth the risk. Yes, it may verge on self-destructive at times, and yet the unfolding of love often sustains life itself. For many thinkers, such as Camus, love is the very force that justifies life and its inherent suffering. As he writes, the misery and greatness of this world, it offers no truths, but only objects for love. Absurdity is king, but love saves us from it. Now, what is love exactly? Yes, of course, there's romantic love, the sort that involves erotic fixation, infatuation, and that feeling of completeness when we are with our beloved. But thinkers such as Simone de Beauvoir have noted that this sort of obsessiveness fails to truly reflect the profundity of true love. Such codependence and severe attachment could minimize the transformational aspects of love that are relevant to our journey towards heightened self-complexity. Beauvoir saw most relationships falling into the category of either narcissism or devotion, with each partner using the other for their own existential satiation. The narcissist seeks partners that will shower them with love and affection, with a sustained sense of self-importance. The devoted will find a partner they can admire fervently, expecting to be accepted into their beloved's special world. In both cases, each partner will inevitably come to resent the other. The narcissist will lose respect for their partner, and the devotional lover will come to see their seemingly perfect partner as a human being with flaws, leading to an eventual disillusionment. Each dynamic fails to treat the other fully as a human subject, as someone with their own desires and drives and subjectivity. Beauvoir advocated for something that she called authentic or true love, a love that respects the autonomy of their partner because they love them for who they are. Our beloved is treated above all as an unencumbered and unconstrained subject, as another human that is to be truly loved and desired for who they are and also who they could become. For Beauvoir, this authentic love allows each partner to reap the benefits of a relationship more broadly, with the benefits being the ability to expand and grow with and through one another. The feminist writer Bell Hooks likewise offered a relevant definition of this sort of authentic love: the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturance, for both oneself and the other. Hooks considered love to be rooted in both intention and action. We do not merely experience it as a passive participant when we are in love. We also demonstrate our love through acts and behaviors. Through this, we grow, and so too does the object of our affection. In some sense, Hooks and Beauvoir's notions of love capture the self-complexity and expansion we have previously discussed. Love is the becoming of oneself through another, all while they do the same. For Hooks, this is the main driver of life and identity. She writes, "If I were really asked to define myself, I wouldn't start with race, I wouldn't start with blackness, I wouldn't start with gender, I wouldn't start with feminism. I would start with stripping down to what fundamentally informs my life, which is that I'm a seeker on the path, a path about love." In some sense, Hooks is offering a different concept of the will from that of thinkers such as Nietzsche or Schopenhauer. Hooks presents us instead with another theory of human motivation that is distinct and yet consistent. It is a will to love, the fundamental impulse towards incorporation and reciprocation with the other that informs life. Perhaps this is all we are truly driven by, the need to integrate with that which we are not, Love is desire at its most profound, as it allows us to be in a constant process of both being and becoming. We change slightly in the gaze of the other, and we hope they do too, as a result of being exposed to who we are on a deeply intimate level. This is perhaps why Deleuze considered love to be a form of madness. Falling in love necessitates a fundamental shift in perspective, an alteration in how one sees the world and oneself. The lovers initiate a process of collective insanity, and through this dynamic, no matter how long or short it may be, something new and unpredictable is created in the merging of the multiplicities that compose the inner world of each participant. But what are the risks that we sign ourselves up for when faced with the prospect of romantic love? Love with another always risks toxicity, heartbreak, and disappointment. A breakup may be characterized by a sense of total loss, as one's identity was at one time so intimately wrapped up in the identity of one's partner. A future may not appear worth living, for as all future plans involve their former partner. The return to the dating scene as a fresh single can be a miserable experience as we subject ourselves to a mundane conversation over drinks, all in the hopes of re-securing that long-lost flame in a blind date or a Tinder match. Modern love is often riddled with disappointment. The sociologist Eva Lewis has described the sort of trials and tribulations inherent in the modern dating scene with horrid precision. As she writes, "In fact, few people living in the contemporary era have been spared the agonies of intimate relationships. These agonies come in many shapes: kissing too many frogs on the way to Prince Charming, engaging in Sisyphean internet searches, coming back lonely from bars, parties, or blind dates. When relationships do get formed, agonies do not fade away, as one may feel bored, anxious, or angry in them, have painful arguments and conflicts, or finally, go through the confusion, self-doubts, and depressions of breakups or divorces. These are only some of the ways in which the search for love is an agonizingly difficult experience from which few modern men and women have been spared. If the sociologist could hear the voices of men and women searching for love, they would hear a long and loud litany of moans and groans." Dating apps, hookup culture, and therapy speak can easily depersonalize the expected intimacy and vulnerability that we tend to associate with romantic situations. Date after date, ghosting, the feeling that yes, there are plenty of fish, but your bait is defective. That will to love may inevitably shrink, and soon we might even find ourselves panicking at the idea of a first date or flirting with a stranger. Why get your hopes up? While we may not be able to control how others behave in a romantic dynamic, I do think that love is nonetheless a worthy venture for those who wish to grow and learn about themselves. Specifically, romantic love can teach us the importance of detachment. To love without attachment is above all else to get over oneself. In fact, Erich Fromm recognizes the overcoming of one's narcissism as the main condition for the achievement of love. In attempting to secure our own self-image through another, we create an image or fantasy of that other. We imprison them there through manipulation, deception, and control. This is our attempt to possess. And we also imprison ourselves in our own narcissism. We cut ourselves off from being able to experience true love. To abandon the present in order to look for things in the future is to throw away the substance and hold on to the shadow, writes the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. As Beauvoir previously suggested, in order to truly love someone, we must embrace a sense of detachment. But how could one take on such a difficult task, potentially riddled with rejection and betrayal? Firstly, love involves some level of objectivity. You need to see people for their own potentialities and your own potentialities, rather than the images you have of them. This in itself means abandoning one's self-prioritization. It involves humility. And this humility is informed by a significant faith that through recognizing, trusting, and nurturing you and your partner's potential, love will flourish. Yes, boundaries still exist in this state, but this comes about through education rather than manipulation. By telling them your boundaries, you hope this will also teach you about them and their boundaries and needs. and they might not be compatible with yours. And here is the crucial and scary part about love without attachment. You must be vulnerable to what you fear. These things might not last. People might die, or you both may simply drift apart. Feelings change. All you can do is have some humility and faith that the learning process itself, which is reciprocal, will bring love to both. This is perhaps why the spiritual philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti argues that passion comes through learning rather than through mere gratification. Love emerges within this intense curiosity we have for the other. And how could we truly know those who we supposedly love if we limit them for our own gratification? We must listen without judgment. We must love without attachment. As Bell Hooks writes, true love is unconditional, but to truly flourish, it requires an ongoing commitment to constructive struggle and change. And perhaps you don't necessarily have to rely on a messy other to pursue this path on the way towards love. What if you could learn to love life itself? One of the most constraining perspectives to hold on to is the idea that love is only ever possible in a romantic context. Yes, the admiration and reciprocity experienced between individuals are certainly powerful, but love can exist in many other ways, between the self, the world, and others. This is resonance, as Hartmut Rosa proposes. We open ourselves up to the world, understanding that we may be changed as a result, and that the world, likewise, may be altered by our presence. To do this is to embrace a specific type of personality, to be in a state of constant curiosity and flow, engaged and fully present with one's environment and those who share our space. This is Aristotle's process of living excellently, and through this deriving some sense of enjoyment from the act of living itself. We fall in love with life, and through this we become happy. This is an excerpt from my book called So You're Having an Existential Crisis. The link is in the description below. Enjoy.